Good morning, girls. In the last class, we learnt about the slave dynasty and about Qutbuddin Aibak, who was the founder of the slave dynasty. Today, we'll be discussing about Iltutmish, who was a successor of Qutbuddin Aibak. So, we'll begin with the class. Qutbuddin Aibak was succeeded by his son Aram Shah. So after Qutbuddin Aibak, his son Aram Shah came to power. Since Aram Shah was an incapable ruler, he was overthrown by Iltutmish, a slave and son-in-law of Qutbuddin. So Aibak's son Aram Shah, he was not a capable ruler. He was not a very powerful ruler. So he was easily overthrown by Iltutmish. Overthrow means to bring down or to remove from power. So he was easily removed from power by Iltutmish. And Iltutmish, he was a slave and also he was a son-in-law of Qutbuddin. Iltutmish was the governor of Bihar at the time of his accession to the throne. So when he was inheriting the throne, at the time of his inheritance, he was the governor of Bihar. When Iltutmish became the ruler, he had to face many problems. Foreign enemies as well as internal rebels wanted to overthrow him. So when Iltutmish, when he became the ruler, when he came to power, he had to face many problems. He had to face many rebels because both foreign enemies and internal enemies wanted to overthrow him. They wanted to remove him from power. He had enemies. He had both external and internal enemies who wanted to bring him down because he was a slave, because Iltutmish was a slave, so everyone wanted to overthrow him. Iltutmish acted with wisdom and courage. So at that situation when everyone wanted to overthrow him, he acted wisely and courageously. He undertook a number of conquests to suppress his enemies. So in order to put an end to all the rebels, in order to defeat his enemies, he undertook many conquests. He started to conquer many regions and many areas in order to defeat his enemies. He defeated the Rajput rulers of Ranthambore, Ajmer, Gwalior, Malwa, Ujjain and Mandu. So during his conquest, while he was conquering different places, he defeated the Rajput rulers of Ranthambore, Ajmer, Gwalior, Malwa, Ujjain and Mandu. He suppressed the Khalji revolt in Bengal and he put an end to the Khalji revolt, which was in Bengal. The Khalji revolt, it was led by the Khalji dynasty against Iltutmish, against the slave dynasty. So he put an end to this Khalji revolt. He also defeated Kubacha, the ruler of Multan, and Yaldos, the ruler of Ghazni. And he also, during his conquests, he defeated Kubacha, who was the ruler of Multan, and Yaldos, who was the ruler of Ghazni. Gradually, he recovered all the territories which had once formed a part of Muhammad Ghazni's empire. So gradually, with all the conquests, while he was conquering different regions and different areas, he gradually got back all the places which were once part of the Ghazni empire. Iltutmish used diplomacy to save his kingdom from the threat of Mongol invasion. So Iltutmish, he acted tactfully. He had the skill of handling people in a very tactful, in a very tricky way, and he used this skill to save his country, to save his kingdom from the danger, from the Mongol invasion, from the threat of the Mongolian invasion. Diplomacy is an art. It is an art or skill where one knows to handle other people in a very tactful or in a tricky way. So Iltutmish had that art. He had the skill of handling people in a tactful way. In 1221, Mongol leader Genghis Khan conquered many parts of Central Asia. So in 1221, Mongolian leader Genghis Khan, he started to conquer many parts of the Central Asia. Chasing the ruler of Khawarizm, the Mongols came right up to the bank of the Indus River and threatened Iltutmish's empire. So the Genghis Khan, who belonged to the Mongolian region, he was a Mongolian leader. So this Genghis Khan, he was chasing the ruler of Khawarizm. Khawarizm is a region in the western Central Asia. So he was behind the ruler of Khawarizm. So while he was chasing this ruler of Khawarizm, he came to the banks of the Indus River and he started to threaten the Iltutmish empire. The ruler of Khawarizm requested Iltutmish to provide him shelter. So, since the ruler of Khawarizm, he was threatened by Genghis Khan, this ruler came to Iltutmish and he asked for shelter. But sensing the danger of Mongol attack on his empire, he diplomatically refused him shelter. So when the ruler of Khawarizm, when he came to Iltutmish and requested for shelter, requested for protection, Iltutmish, he refused to provide shelter. He refused to give him shelter or protection because he was afraid of the Mongolian attack. Iltutmish, he was wise enough to he felt the danger of Mongolian attack, and hence he refused to provide shelter to the ruler of Khawarizm. This pleased Genghis Khan, who went back without attacking Iltutmish's empire. So since Iltutmish, he refused to provide shelter to the ruler of Khawarizm, Genghis Khan, he was very happy with this decision. This decision pleased Genghis Khan and he went back without attacking the empire. Another problem faced by Iltutmish was that many nobles did not accept him as a ruler because of his slave origin. Now we saw before that Iltutmish, he was a slave. He belonged to the slave dynasty and he was a slave. Because of this fact, many nobles, people who belonged to the high class, they were not willing to accept Iltutmish as a ruler. He received a letter of investiture from the Abbasid Caliph. So at this time, Iltutmish, he received a letter of investiture. Investiture, it is a formal act of rewarding a person with any honor or any rank. So he was rewarded with the rank of Sultan by the Abbasid Caliph, by the Abbasid king. This was a formal recognition of his independent position as a sultan. So this letter of investiture, it identified Iltutmish as a sultan. It identified the position of Iltutmish as a sultan. Iltutmish organized a group of powerful Turkish nobles called the Kalisa, or corps of 40 slaves, and distributed all high offices among them. So when he was given the title of Sultan, when he was given the letter of investiture, when he was identified as Sultan, he organized a group of people, a group of Turkish high class people, and he called them Kalisa, or the corps of 40 slaves. Now these corps, these group of people, that is the 40 slaves, they were given high positions, they were given high ranks, and they were given high positions. Corps means it is a group of people, it is an organized group of people. So these organized group of 40 slaves, who were the Turkish nobles, they were distributed with high positions, they were given high positions in their empire. He introduced an efficient system for collecting land revenue. So Iltutmish, he also introduced an effective system for collecting the land tax. He divided his empire into numerous big and small pieces of land called iktas. Now, what was this efficient system? This system, he divided his empire. He divided all of his empire into small and big pieces of lands, and these pieces of lands, they were known as iktas. These iktas were assigned to the nobles and officers in lieu of cash salary. So these pieces of land, these iktas, they were allotted to the nobles, the high class people, and the officers instead of cash salary. So the nobles and the officers, they were not given any cash salary, but instead they were allotted with these land pieces. Each ikta was administered by an officer called iktadar, who collected land revenue. So in each ikta, in each of these land pieces, there was an officer who was called the iktadar. These land pieces, they were taken care by these iktadar, and he collected the land tax from the people. Iltutmish was the first ruler who struck coins with Arabic inscriptions. So Iltutmish, he was also the first ruler who made coins having Arabic inscriptions, having Arabic writings on them. He issued a silver coin called tanka and copper coins called jitals. And Iltutmish, he also made silver coins which are known as tankas, and copper coins were known as jitals. So this is about Iltutmish. Iltutmish, he was a slave, and he was a son-in-law of Qutbuddin, who came to power after Aram Shah by defeating Aram Shah. Now you can see the picture of Iltutmish here. This is Iltutmish, and on the next page you can see the tomb of Iltutmish. So this is all about the ruler Iltutmish. That's all for today, girls. Thank you.